Welcome in, everybody. My name is Bree. I want to welcome all you guys coming in live. Hi, Sharon, as well as all of you guys that are going to do this on replay. So today we have 12 minutes, and we're going to go through my top 10 stretches that are going to help improve your posture. So I want to give it a little bit of a preface that in order to improve our posture, we need to think about our alignment. So you're going to see me go through stretches that are going to target the neck area, the chest and upper back, the shoulders, as well as the hip flexors that affect that pelvic tilt, whether we have an anterior tilt or a posterior tilt, and then it's just going to be all around a feel-good stretch head to toe. But that's kind of the premise behind it, that if we are moving better anatomically, we're going to have better posture. Now we're going to start with our neck, and I'm going to start actually seated, so that we're going to really focus, and you don't have to do this seated, you can certainly do it standing, but some of these initial stretches we're going to do are good to do seated because then you're very grounded and you can focus your attention. So you can do it standing or seated. And you're going to see me kind of go between a couple different positions today, and we're going to be standing, seated, on the floor, everything that we can possibly get into in 10 minutes, and this is going to be one you're going to want to save. Hi, yes, Sharon says, great, we always need it. I agree. Okay, so let's think about the neck first, and I want you to think about moving in at different angles. So we're going to go first with just kind of warming up, and I want you to think about going ear to shoulder, but kind of drawing a semicircle, so a 180 pattern going down and to the side. Now you're going to keep your gaze down and keep that chin tucked as much as possible because I'm trying to cue, and often when you're in that proper positioning where you're keeping your chin tucked, it's going to muffle my voice a little bit, so I want you to think about your specific form and less of a visual, because if I was doing this without speaking, I would be talked even more. But just kind of going side to side and really gentle. So with our neck specifically, really our whole body, but especially with the neck, you want to be thinking about gentle movements. All right, after you give that a really good kind of heat up, I want to take our focus to the front of your neck. So a lot of times we feel some tension or pain associated with the back of our neck, but it can be tightness in the front of the neck that's actually telling the back that it's feeling a little bit overstretched. So rather than continually stretching the back of our neck, let's go ahead and focus on the front. So we're going to think about keeping that chin tucked, and the angle is actually back and then up. So take one palm out to the side, and here's going to be where you can do it seated and really focused. So I want you to think, and I'm going to look at the clock, we're going to hold each stretch for 20 seconds. Start now with the first side. So think about going in, back, and then at a diagonal. And then this opposite arm can go down to just help create length. And now I'm holding for 20 seconds. You want to hold your static stretches anywhere from 20 to 30. Good. And then gently release. Let's take it to the other side. I'm sure you felt that, right? So tuck under, and then again, thinking about going side and back. And I like to actually use my opposite hand as help, but make sure you are very gentle, and you want to keep that chin tucked and lean back. So we got that angular stretch, and we're going through the front of your neck. What a game changer. Do you feel that? And when you add a little bit of extra support, it helps you get that deeper stretch. Good. 3, 2, 1, release. All right. Okay, since we're seated, we're going to go into a stretch that I love. You're going to cross your legs, and we're going to take the opposite arm, and we're going to sweep overhead, and now we're going to stretch through the chest. So these first initial ones, what do you notice? And you can come in and out. These are great to do at your desk, right? Or seated. Any time that you can mix these first few in, it's really going to be great for posture. Good. So big sweep overhead. We've done this often seated on the ground as well. Good. And then go ahead and switch sides. So cross leg, arm towards that opposite, so just above the knee, and then sweep back. Good. Sit up nice and tall. And this is also a great warm-up for some of the ones that we're going to hit here in a bit. Focused on chest, back, shoulders. Great work. One more big sweep. Beautiful job. And go ahead and come up. So I'm going to slide the bench out of the way. We will come back and use it when we're targeting a little bit more static stretches. But next, I want to go into a wide leg stretch. And I'm kind of going between the whole body just so we're getting full head to toe and warming up in the process. But I want you to shift those hips side to side. So this is your next stretch that I highly advise. This is going to help you open up through your hip flexors as well as stretch through the adductors. So sometimes tightness can actually be pulling your hips in different directions that you don't necessarily want to be in all the time. So this is going to help you stand up taller. Also, think about pulling in the core nice and tight. And then next, we're going to come down to the floor, keeping that wide leg stretch. We're going to reach towards the floor, so come down with me here. And now we're going to continue with the thoracic rotation. So I also want to mention, you want your full foot on the ground on both sides. Slight bend in your knee, don't lock out your joints. And we're going to go ahead and rotate side to side. So I want you to take that same sweep we just did seated and reach overhead. Now, if the depth is too much, you can actually put something on the floor in front of you, and really it could be anything. It could be your water bottle. Speaking of, I'll go ahead and just show you that. And that's going to help you with range of motion if you can't quite get that rotation without shifting the hips too much. So this is a great option. And again, don't feel like you are quitting if you're taking this option. It's just working within your current range of motion. Good, big reach overhead. One more. Make sure you're even on both sides. Great job. Roll on up. Shoulders back. We're going to go into the upper body a little bit. We've done this often. This is one that I recommend all the time. We're going to go between our chest and then rotators. And again, these first few, they feel like flow mobility style. And we're getting close. We're actually just past that halfway point. We're going to do more specific static, but depending upon where you're coming in from, I want to make sure you do have a little heat in your body. We don't want to stretch cold muscles, right? So these are great to start with. This is also great for chest, and now I'm hitting rotators, so palm up. Good, give me one more. And then we're going to come to a kneeling position. And if you want to put something under your knees, be my guest. But nice tuck under with the hips, so you're in that great alignment. And we're going to step forward a diagonal and stretch through our hip flexor as well as adductor. And now this one I love, and you want to be really gentle. You can also do it standing. You know, we do our hip flexor stretch as well. And if you want to add a little bit more, you're going to add a little bit of a reach overhead, making sure you're keeping your core tight. So this is really opening through hip flexors. And then the adductor, as long as you're keeping your hips straight, you can push outward just a tad with that opposite knee. So I also went through today and I picked some new moves, more little twists and additions, because if you guys have been stretching with me for a while, we do a lot of different stretches that help your posture, but I wanted this to be some new as well as easy for anyone to jump into. Good, reaching forward. And give me one more. Make sure for your body you are even on both sides. Good work. From here, we're going to go ahead and turn to the side. So let's get into those shoulders a little bit, placing the elbows on the floor. Come back. Now we're going to make this a flow. You're going to hit shoulder stretch, then pop up. Thoracic rotation. Yes. And hit both sides, then go back to the shoulder stretch. So I also wanted to make sure I hit some combo moves in there so you get more bang for your buck with the time that you allot for stretching. Reach through, arm up. Nice job. Other side. And I will make sure that I add all these exercises for you in the description, as well as my suggested hold length for each. And that way you can easily come back. So finish your last little sequence and flow here with me. And then we're going to go back to the bench. So as I had mentioned, we're going to hold some static stretches here at the end. So you could also do this 100% using a chair. But I want to make sure, actually I'll start with our hip and glute first. So often we do this on the floor, standing, and this is a way to do it seated. So we're going to stretch our glute Start in that figure 4 and then come forward. The reason I love doing this seated, and especially for today, is the glutes get so tight, and this way you can really focus on squaring out the hip. And then once you have a really great positioning and you want to think about good posture when you're stretching, lean into that stretch. And that should feel so good on that whole hip, glute. You get a little of that piriformis in there. And you can even pull up a little bit and then lean forward a little bit more. That's definitely going to target the piriformis. Yes, and then switch. So other side. Always paying special attention to what side feels a little tighter. Good, lean into that. And then as you come out, you can also give me that piriformis stretch. So come a little bit more of an angle and then lean into it. Ooh. Make sure you let me know in the comments below which one ends up being kind of that light bulb moment. You're like, I didn't even know I needed to do that, but that was so good. All right, you guys. From there, we're going to stretch our chest a little bit more specifically. Actually, I'm going to go quad, and then we're going to finish with chest. So here's a great way to stretch hip flexor and quad using a chair or bench as well. So I want you to go ahead and take one leg back, tuck your hips under. This is going to be a great hip flexor stretch. And then leaning back a little bit more, there's your quad stretch. Okay, now we mean business, right? And this is a great way to open up through that hip flexor and really support how we stand with our hips in alignment. Okay, switch. And I'm watching that clock. I always plan for a little bit more time thinking, this will be perfect. And then I'm like, we could be stretching for an hour and probably still not have enough time. Okay, switch sides. And see, I have one leg back. You can also have one leg forward, and that's a little bit more support. And then lean into it. The goal is not to push down super hard with your knee. It's actually to tuck under and open up through that quad and hip flexor. So I'm not pushing down so much as I am tucking underneath. My knee almost comes up a little bit. All right, team. Come up gently, and we're going to finish with a spider stretch on the floor, and I'm going to add a little bit of a rotation, a lift with the top arm, and that's going to really open up through your chest. So I'm going a tad over, but hey, on stretch days, I'm sure you do not mind. And when you come back and do this again, you'll be able to go through a little faster without all the explanation. Okay, check it out. We've done this scorpion stretch. Now check it out. My bottom arm, my shoulder on the floor, that's stretching that side of my chest, and then here's the addition. Hello. You guys, this one is so good. And I saved it for last because we got a lot of components all coming together, right? Okay, go ahead and switch sides. So top leg comes over, my bottom arm, my shoulder stays in contact with the floor, and then I lift. Nice job. Give me one more each side, and then I honestly would love to leave you with this one and have you continue to go through this a couple more times. But okay, I am so in love with this stretch, and now I hope you are as well. Go ahead and switch. Other side. Stack. Very nice job. And you also get a little bit of that low back opening as well. All right, finish in your child's pose position. And you guys, thank you so much for those of you guys that came live, and all of you guys that do replay. Go ahead and slowly come up, round your shoulders back. I will always continue to mix these in because they're so important as we go through each of our protocols every single month. But if there's a specific area of the body that you are interested in learning more about, whether it's to increase mobility or increase flexibility, or you experience pain there, make sure you drop that information and questions in the comments so I can prioritize it. I definitely want to always bring some really relevant information and stretching and movement to you specifically. So thank you guys very much for all of your time today, and I will see you next week, Tuesday and Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Make it a great day until then. Bye, guys.